Sam, welcome to the GroupEx Podcast, mate. It's good to have you on the show.
Fantastic to be here, Mr. T.
Love it. Mate, give me a little bit about you. Now, my guests will have no idea, my listeners, I should say, will have no idea who Sam from CrossFit Reclaim is. So can you give us a very short intro on who you are?
Yeah, mate. Like I said, I own CrossFit Reclaim, a gym that we train at. I've been in the fitness industry for 20 years. I've done pretty much everything you can think of, from aqua jogging and aqua aerobics to RPM, Les Mills RPM instructor, boxing instructor. And then about 10 years ago, I stumbled across CrossFit when I was a teacher at TAFE, and I had a student come to me and was correcting me inside a lesson I was teaching. And I went, oh, this young little girl knows a lot about how to do this exercise. Anyway, I got talking to her and she was like, yeah, I'm a CrossFitter and this and that. And at the time, 10 years ago, it was only kind of just coming into the scene. And so I went, all right, I'm going to look into this a little bit more, and kind of went down that rabbit hole, and long story short, it kind of changed my trajectory of health and fitness as I knew it.
Yep. Love that. Let me take you back a bit further before your CrossFit journey, though, back when you got into the fitness industry. What was it that captivated you? What was it that made you want to jump into the fitness industry?
You know what? I was always a really skinny kid. I'm 6'4", and I was always quite skinny, and I was always into health and fitness. And I was also I wasn't the brightest kid on the block either, I would say. And so I gravitated towards my EQ skills, my ability to talk, communicate, and connect with people. And so I was training a lot myself. And I started when I was, I dropped out in year 10, moved into a TAFE course where I did some drafting. That didn't really work. My mum said, hey, Sam, there's this thing called a personal trainer. And at the time, I had no idea what a personal trainer was. She enrolled me in the course when I was 18, basically started and haven't stopped. So yep. I really took to it. I really like it. Helping people has been a passion of mine now my entire life. Yep. And it's great, man. It's really good.
I like that. I like hearing it. I asked that question because everyone's story and how we got into the industry is so different. There's some people that have a very similar story, but everyone's story is unique. And that I was not a fit kid. Yeah, I was definitely not. I mean, yeah, we played tennis and all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't really into the gym as such. We'd done it at school, but then left it. And, went to work and did all that kind of stuff. And then it wasn't until later on in life that I was working in the corporate environment and got up to 150 kilos and went, geez, fat boy, you need to get into the gym. You need to go and do something. Stumbled across the road and walked in and went, wow, okay. Started smiling when I was at the gym, frowning when I was at work. I'd go before and after work and I'd be smiling the whole time. And so as I said, everyone's journey is quite different in relation to that. CrossFit, you sort of mentioned that this young girl from your TAFE course had sort of told you, was correcting you, so to speak, on different things that were going on. What did you do to educate yourself with CrossFit? How did you find out what CrossFit was?
Yeah. So I was like many people back in the day, 20 years ago, I was right into the bodybuilding scene. How do I get as big as muscles as possible? And so I was doing lots of bodybuilding, the typical 3-day split. And I was, anyway, so long, kind of moving forward, I thought I knew a lot about health and fitness. I was quite, I wasn't as humble as I am now. And I know a lot about this. And this girl in this class was really kind of giving it to me. And she was this young kid. She was doing a Cert 3. I'd already been in the industry sort of 6-7 years by this stage. And she was, she was really teaching me some stuff. Anyway, so then I looked up a few gyms, saw the price of the admission to go be a member at these places, and it really was a deterrent. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money compared to what I was paying at the gyms I was going to. And I kind of put it back a couple of months. And then eventually I kind of looked more into it, ended up joining a local gym, and was kind of taken away by the way at which they run their service. And I had my own opinions on how it should be run better. And anyway, that was, we're talking many, many, many years ago now, Tony, like many years ago.
Yep.
Anyway, long story short, man, that's how I got into it. Anyway, started training at a local gym, a local CrossFit gym, quickly realized that I knew next to nothing about the fitness, how to get people fit or what fitness is and how to actually improve fitness. And I was going about things completely wrong. So then I changed, man. I made the switch from bodybuilding, which I remember my first class, while we're talking, I'll explain my first class. When I did my first workout, what was your first workout? Just curious. What was your first workout?
RPM.
RPM. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It was the first thing I ever did in the gym. I walked into a cycle studio and was like, that's dark. I'm fat. I can sit down the back and no one will know I'm here. Yeah. Brilliant. I'll sit in the back row under the fan near the speaker. Cool.
Yeah. All right. So my first workout in a CrossFit gym, I was about 115 kilos. I was really quite big, very muscular, but had very low fitness, as in aerobic capacity. And the workout was something along these lines. It was, thrusters, which is effectively a squat and a press, some pull-ups, and a box jump. And we were in this class, and these girls in this class, there was a couple of girls ahead of me in this class, and they all got on a bit of weight. And I, straight away went, oh, well, they're going that weight. I'll do this weight. And couldn't do very many pull-ups at all. The girls ahead of me. Anyway, long story short, it was a disaster. I got completely annihilated in this workout after about 7 minutes. I was laying on my back, looking up, and I think a lot of your listeners too, if you've ever done a high intensity training program, can experience this. This shock of kind of two sides of the polarizing extremes, where you think you're fit, and then you go and do something that requires fitness, and you aren't fit. Like you're very far away from fit, And I call it this, like, I don't know, I use the word utility. It's like, you have fitness to use, to be able, and being both strong, mobile, but then also having that aerobic base plays a big role. And so anyway, I gravitated towards more that style of training.
This is the GroupEx Podcast.
Mate, so let me touch on this then. What is the best way, or what is the way that you would describe what CrossFit is? What is CrossFit?
Yeah, it's essentially it's a mixed modality training program where you combine weightlifting, gymnastics, and when I use the word gymnastics, it's body weight movements. So improving your foot functional, whole body movements, push, pull, squatting, lunging, sit-ups, things along those lines. And then you have weightlifting, which is kind of comprised into two domains. One's fast lifts, which are things like throwing a medicine ball up against the wall, a kettlebell swing where you're using momentum, the Olympic lifts. So there's the snatch and the clean and jerk. And then you got the slow lifts, which are like squatting, pressing, deadlifting, things along those lines. And then the third element there is monostructural movements, things like running, burpees, bike, rowing, skipping, things along those lines. Some things that are more generated to like getting your heart rate up. So what CrossFit does is essentially it blends all three of those together and puts them all into a workout. The philosophy is wrapped around having no routine. I suppose that's contrary to bodybuilding, where bodybuilding is very set, and you get lots of structure. Whereas CrossFit's kind of anti-structure. It wants a structured program because it wants to be able to expose you to as many disciplines as possible.
Yep.
But the more you can have a variety of different training, the improvement of the circle of your fitness will be, man. So yeah, that's CrossFit.
How would you say CrossFit is different from a normal big box gym?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest difference you'll see is the variety of exercises. We get a lot of people that come to us and they've never done, well, they probably train at, say, actually, we get a lot of people that come to us that have never done any training before. It's really common. People that have never really done any training, and their friends are like, man, my friend won't shut up about this place, and they come in and they walk in and have a go. I think the biggest one is a lot of gyms, especially back in the day, it's not as bad these days, but a lot of gyms have a lot of machines. And again, it's still catering to that bodybuilding kind of muscle gain phase where they separate weight training with aerobic training, and that's fine. Like everyone, I think as a gym, it's very easy that way because we only can put one staff member on, and there's 1,000 members or whatever at any one time. Where CrossFit's very different like that, because CrossFit traditionally is done. We know CrossFit is like a group exercise, but it's also, it starts on one-on-one. So we start with people one-on-one, and that's the beauty of it, learning the exercises. Look, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It does take a little bit of time to learn how to exercise properly, and what I mean properly, like safely and effectively.
Yep.
Whereas some people kind of get thrown in the deep end, and that's kind of where disaster kind of happens.
Yeah. Two words you just mentioned then, safe and effective. Now, I can attest to that straight away from being in a box where we're training. But if I take my thought process back, and I'm going to say this is probably a lot of my listeners as well, going back to 2010, 2012, whenever it was, when CrossFit first hit our shores, it had come out as though it was a workout for athletes, as in high-performing athletes. You go over there, you're doing those Olympic lifts, and a lot of it had come across to us in the early days that it was unsafe. It was not safe, and there were stories of people hurting themselves very early on, and I think a lot of boxes had opened where there were cowboys running them. Yeah, I'm going to say cowboys, meaning some guys that probably haven't gone and done their CrossFit fundamentals course and learning how to do it all properly. I'm like, oh yeah, we know how to do that, and throw it around. And so there were a lot of people getting injured. I attest to it big time. I mean, you mentioned there the one-on-one stuff. I mean, I think when I first started, we had 3 or 4 sessions one-on-one to get me understanding the movement patterns and understanding what their movements were. I still remember my first class because I was scared shitless walking in there because I had no idea what to expect. I'd been there and seen 1 or 2 classes, but that wasn't what I was about to do that day. And there was this bar in front of me that I had to go and get, and then I was like, holy shit, I've only ever really squatted with this thing. How am I going to... Well, you want me to throw the thing above my head? Okay, yeah. And it was so daunting. But as you said, it's safe and it's effective. I haven't seen anybody hurt themselves if they're listening to instructions properly. And you don't need to whack on 200 kilos. Mate, I'm using the bar for some of the things. I'm whacking on sometimes only 2.5 kilos on either side. It is safe. It is effective. And I think that's probably one of the big things I want to try to get across to listeners today is that it's not unsafe. It's about as unsafe as doing a Les Mills class. Yeah. It falls in the same category. You can hurt yourself sneezing in the bloody shower. I look at this thing and I go, you know what, guys, you can get in there. Anyone can actually give this a shot. Have you faced that before from a lot of people? I suppose new people joining up going, oh shit, is this right? Is this right for me?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a little story. When I first opened the gym, I was working as a program manager at the UOW college, and I was running their fitness education curriculum. So I was in charge of writing I had a team of teachers, and we were delivering the Cert 3 and 4 in fitness with a backdrop of how CrossFit fundamentals work. So anyway, I was in meetings, and I had my clientele I affiliated out of my garage, and I used to have all these I really like working with weight loss clientele. And I remember this story because it was it just exactly what you're saying, the stereotypical like CrossFit's dangerous. I was working with these bunch of ladies, and they'd lost 15 kilos over 6 months. And I gave them my new card, and I said, hey guys, I just want to let you guys know, can you guys pass these cards around and see if I've got any room? I'll take on any new clients, I'll take on your friends. And I passed them a CrossFit Reclaim card, and they were like, oh, whoa, we can't do CrossFit. Like, we can't do CrossFit like that. What are you doing, Sam? Like, what? You can't be a CrossFit coach, And I turned to these couple of ladies, and I was like, what do you think we've been doing for the last 6 months? And they're like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, and then these guys have all lost 15 kilos. They were like, crushing it, absolutely killing their fitness. And that's kind of like the testament of what it is, right? I think if you get a person who's being not correctly coached properly and they get pushed down the hill on a bike with no brakes, they're going to crash. And it's a big reason why we actually took away we used to have these bring a friend days at the gym. And we used to have these bring a friend days. And what their friends would do is, because they've been doing CrossFit, they've been getting really fit and their base level of fitness is really high. And they just assume that everyone is like this, and it's not the case. And so their friends would come in and they'd be like, all right, man, come on, let's smash you, you know? And man, there was times where I'd run these Bring a Friends class and there'd be 4 or 5 people out the back vomiting in the garden, and their intensity was just way too high. And no matter how much I could slow things down, that kind of hoarding effect of people where they want to push their friends, it kind of starts to creep in. And I think that's why people get hurt. I think that the main reason why people get hurt is they're doing things that they've never been exposed to. They're doing it under intensities that they're not ready for and not prepared for. And you combine those two together and it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
In anything you do, regardless if it's CrossFit, it's Les Mills. Like I remember Les Mills, people used to get injured as well. Like it's not unique to CrossFit, kind of like what you were saying, but it's just about coaching them.
Mate, I remember talking about the unsafe and the overloading stuff. I remember people coming into a pump class and, you know, boys that had just been up on the gym floor the whole time lifting, I got, can do 120 kilos on a squat. So they get the pump bar and they load everything on, but they don't realize that the track we're doing goes for 5 minutes and there's going to be close to 300 reps. It's that complete different that you've just got to start slow. You've got to start somewhere and go through it. My next question was going to be to you here is CrossFit good for beginners?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the thing that we have to understand is beginner is such a vague term as well. I've had a bunch of clients in their 70s, and I don't have a lot of 70-year-olds doing class. A lot of the CrossFit training that I do, and like I said, CrossFit is very diverse, right? So we're trying to get them improved agility, like the physical skills, strength, flexibility, conditioning, and and what have you. And so beginners, the way we like to do with beginners is we treat everyone similar to like what you said before. We do 3 to 4 PTs one-on-one with people. And then we ask them, we say, how do you feel about doing a class? And they're like, if we feel like they're ready, we'll say, how do you feel about doing a class? And then sometimes they go, you know what, let's do a couple more PTs and let's work on this and that, things that I'm a little bit unsure of. And then we'll move into class. And I'm like, yeah, great. Like, let's do that. I think that the class has a huge element of inclusivity to it. And there's a very big cultural thing to it as well. There's something that you can't replace with a class that PT can't meet either. There's this element of camaraderie and friendship that classes bring, and that's why I'm a huge proponent for group exercises as a whole.
Yep.
So yeah, man, to answer your question, yeah, I think CrossFit is for beginners. If you get a good coach that connects with you and takes you under their wing and treats you not like a number but as a person, I think you can really get to go far.
Now, a lot of gyms out there say these days that their USP or their point of difference and their unique selling thing is our community at a gym. Our community at our gym is our point of difference. That's why we stand out. Now, I call bullshit on that straight away. And I say that because, if everyone's saying it, no one's got a unique selling point. No one's, I bet it's our community. That's what keeps people. Now, I say bullshit, but at the same time, I say the community that we have, the community that CrossFit Reclaim has where we go, has that. Yep. And I say that because I started in August last year. We're now in March, the next year. So it's been 6 months or whatever it's been. From the moment I walked into that gym, I made friends.
Yeah.
Now, a gym can't tell me, a full box gym can't tell me that the same thing happens. Now, I've been in the industry now for 24 years. I can guarantee, put my hand on my heart and go, what I experienced in the first week of joining the CrossFit gym was not what I experienced the first week of joining a normal gym. Normal gym, I would have been lucky for someone to say hello to me. Yeah. Even if I went to a class, maybe the instructor might have said, "G'day." Oh, you knew? Cool. Okay, just take it easy and do whatever.
Yeah.
There was no coaching, no hand holding, no someone there to actually say, "Hey, try this, do this," or Tone, when you come into your next class, set up here and do this kind of stuff. That doesn't exist in a full box gym.
Yeah.
to debunk that myth of CrossFit is unsafe again and CrossFit's not inclusive. Yes, it's a workout for yourself and you're competing against yourself. Yeah, you judge yourself. You're every time you want to go in, you want to make sure that you're doing better than what you did last time. And I think that happens in most gyms as well.
Yeah, man.
But I think it's the thing that I really love is the inclusivity in that place, and also the fact that you can be having the shittest day. Someone just needs to go, "Hey mate, how you doing? Oh, that was a bloody awesome workout. Well done." Your day changes completely. If you could bottle that shit and sell it, I think we'd be making a fortune. So if there's a way that you know how to do it, I say right now, don't tell anyone. Let's work on it together and work on some program that we can sell to every other gym that's out there and go, yeah, this is tried and tested. We've done this.
Yeah.
What's new in fitness? The Australian fitness industry news and commercial gym equipment suppliers website designed to provide fitness industry professionals with knowledge and information to make better informed business decisions. But mate, couple of questions there.
Can I talk to you about how I look at unique selling points?
Yes.
I think unique selling points for us is we charge a premium for our service and we have no lock-in contracts. And when I meet people for the first time, I say, look, we've got a wait list of people trying to get into this place. I go, for the times that you're trying to train, I can have you train here. This is how much it is. And we've got no lock-in contracts. So if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be. There's 2 weeks notice and you can leave. The two unique selling points that we give people is, one is results. And results comes under, results, right? Results are the main reason. Now, you know how you mentioned a minute ago about community? I think community is extremely important. And I would say it's probably the first or second motivator for retention. And retention is incredibly important from a gym operating perspective. But the way I define results is in kind of two ways. One is you're seeing changes, physical changes in your health, your mood, mood was more psychological, but you explained it before, you're getting fitter, you're getting healthier, you feel those effects. The second one is you like coming. Yep. Now, liking coming, like there's multidisciplined, multi-pronged approach to that or recognition of that. You like coming. That means there's no dickheads in the gym. The coaches are welcoming. The people are welcoming. You like the workouts. You like the music. You like the vibe. You like the feeling you have at the end of the class. There's so many of these things that happen. And for a good gym to do these properly is really, really, really hard. If I'm doing my job properly, running our gym, CrossFit Reclaim, it should feel weird when you go to a different gym. You should walk into a different gym and go, we're doing CrossFit, but how come it feels so different? And that's because we do all these other 1%ers really quite well. Yeah. And I think that just starts from a place of care, caring about the people you're working with, caring about how clean the toilets are, caring about, the attention to detail that you're trying to get to every single person in the class and give them 2 to 3 minutes of your time and, connect with them. Don't be a robot. Anyway, we're on a bit of a tangent at times, but
look, that you've just summed up when I look at group exercise, it's a group of people exercising. You want to call it group fitness, group exercise, whatever. I refer to it as group exercise. Yeah. If a lot of clubs could mimic what happens in the CrossFit box, in their big box studio, within the group exercise space, they're going to be a hell of a lot more successful. Yep.
Correct.
Retention. Yep. Attrition. We're all trying to get new members. We're all trying to get new members. We're all trying, I need differential. If we focused on retention, we don't have to try and focus as much on attrition, trying to get new people coming in all the time. You get retention sorted, you get your members there. Like what we've got at the moment, at 6 a.m. class. Yeah, it's full. If you don't book in as soon as that class finishes today for tomorrow or the next day, you're not going to get in. That has been built because the people that are all there want to train together, want to get in there and do it. So, there's limited numbers, there's limited space, but at the same time, if we're able to pick that up, replicate it, throw it into a big box gym, into their group exercise space, and the club realise the pulling power that group exercise has, whether you call it CrossFit or whether you call it something else, it's a group of people exercising. The model that CrossFit uses, I believe, is the right model. because it works. Not
I
just
think,
because it's CrossFit, but because of how it's actually set up and what it all is. The movements themselves, we know that the movements work for us, but that whole model in itself, if that could be put into a full box gym and worked in the same way, you're going to get your same members coming through. You're not going to have to worry about losing members.
Yeah,
because they're going to go down to the gym to another class. No, they're not. But you could say the same thing to, you know what? There's another CrossFit box in town. Someone's going to go to that instead of here. Are they?
Yeah, no, look, I totally agree. I think the one, you know, I did GroupEx in at the uni gym for forever, like 7-8 years, and I think the biggest difference, like what you were talking about a minute ago, is the first unique selling point is results. And when you get someone who they keep putting their chips on black, and it keeps rolling on black, keep rolling on black, keep rolling on black, and you keep getting results doing something, you're not going to stop. And the glue is the community. The glue is how well you get along with your coach. The glue is what the overall experience of getting those results are. That's what really creates that stickiness. But the results are very important. And if you're not improving, or you don't feel a sense of improvement, and you're not seeing those improvements, and I think that's kind of where the group exercise, if I was a gym manager for, say, a very big gym with many group exercise classes on a timetable, it would be trying to take more of a personalized approach first, and then backing into that with, hey, we're going to do these Les Mills classes, we're going to do these classes, these various classes that you enjoy. But there has to be more of like I'd really like to see like more of like a consultative process where people start with like a meet and greet, and then they meet their coach, and that would be awesome. That would be ideal. Anyway, I know it's hard. I know because there's so many members, and gyms like big gyms, they got 3,000, 6,000 members, you know, it's nuts, you know, and the amount of people that go through their classes per week is insane. We don't have that. We go the other way. We went really expensive, but then more of like a concierge kind of service.
This is the GroupEx Podcast.
Yeah, I like it. Look, there's other couple of questions which have come up because I asked a few people, hey, give me some questions before I have a chat to Sam.
Okay, fire them at me.
So, mate, how long until I'm going to start losing weight at CrossFit? You know, I've been coming now for X period of time. How long until I start losing weight? That's the first question. That was one of the second question I got on.
Is that what I got?
Before I start doing CrossFit, how long until I start losing weight?
Calories in, calories out. See, how's your diet? That's the question I come back at you with.
Yep.
So, the calories you burn is weight loss is you know what? If you were to ask me, overarchingly, when I meet someone for the first time, we have a body scanner at the gym, and what I do is I look at their body scan, and I go, hey, listen, for a guy, we want guys between 12 and 22% body fat, right? If you're outside that, how about we get on a bit of a diet for a bit, you know, and then that meets everyone at kind of where you're at too. If that's something you want to do yourself, because you got to want to do that. That doesn't just happen, you know. You've got to eat a little bit less food, a little bit less calorie dense food, and bring down your maintenance calories to being more of a deficit. And so yeah, man. Like I know Paulie this morning. He killed it right on the scanner, and
he's done well.
He's done really well, and CrossFit isn't a magic bullet when it comes to body composition. It's really effective. It's a very effective training program to lose weight and gain strength and improve your fitness. But just like anything, man, the diet's a bit of definitely a hurdle you have to cross, mate. So,
no, I like that. The easiest answer for me is that's calories in, calories out, guys. Yes, like anything, any form of exercise, you will see results, but you've got to watch the fuel that you're chucking in your body for it to happen. Next one was, how many days a week should you do CrossFit? I mean, you know, there's only 7 days in a week. Should I go 7 days a week?
Yeah, the prescription is 3 days on, 1 day off, but there's also 5 days on, 2 days off. You got some outliers in there where people want to do it 7 days a week. Some people only do 2 days a week. I think if you can find 3 days a week is a really good starting point. If you've never done any kind of training at all, 3 days a week is a really good starting point. Have a workout, have a rest day, have a workout, have a rest day. If you're getting back into it, maybe have a workout, go for a walk or a jog. Have a workout, go for a walk or a jog, have a workout. So yeah, 3 days a week is a good starting point.
And is 1 hour enough a day, or could I do more? What's the
some of the, you'd be surprised. Some of the workouts is, it's all based in intensity. So some workouts are quite long and the intensity is a bit more moderated. Whereas other workouts, there's workouts that go for 10 minutes and I bet you probably won't get up off the ground for 20 minutes, you know? So the intensity is the key. Intensity is the key.
Now, just on that in itself, there's this thing called the CrossFit Open, which we're going through at our box at the moment. Can you explain to my listeners what the CrossFit Open is?
Cool. The CrossFit Open's a kind of a stage test to get to the CrossFit Games. It goes CrossFit Open. It's like open to every single person. We've got people who are doing the CrossFit Open in their 60s. We've got people who have, disabilities and they're doing the adaptive division with, so it's a stage test. Then we move into quarterfinals and then the finals and then obviously the CrossFit Games. So it's a multi-stage test. That's what the Open is. Just to open to everybody, see where everyone's fitness is. I do it every year. I don't go anywhere with it. I'm not incredibly fit like some of the other crazies in the gym, but it's a great test for me. I'm 38 now and my fitness is still quite high from many years of doing training, and I like to try to use it as a benchmark.
Yeah. I'll just share my story with listeners as well, so that most of my listeners know that I've been through and had 2 hip replacements. I decided to join CrossFit in August of last year. At that stage, I couldn't get myself off the floor unless I was hanging on to something, hanging on to whatever was near me or getting someone to give me a hand to get up because they had cut through both butt cheeks. And while I did as much rehab as I possibly could, when a muscle's cut, you've got to train it again in order to start moving and doing stuff properly. I'd sort of hit 145 odd kilos at that stage as well from not being able to do anything from 7 years prior. So walking into CrossFit, it was daunting, as I mentioned earlier. It was very full on and very, oh shit, what am I doing in here? But at the same time, it's been so rewarding. As I said, mentioned the amount of people that I've met during it, the movements that I'm doing now that I didn't have a fucking clue what will even existed, even though, yes, I've been in the industry for 20 odd years, there were some movements I'm going, oh, that's what that is. Okay. Now I've never ever done that with myself or a client before. Cool. So there's movements I'm able to do, but I think my results that I've seen haven't been so much in the weight loss, but it's been more in the mobility side of things. So being able to move properly, walk properly, not being in pain after 7 years of, dealing with the hips and all that kind of shit. So it's been so rewarding for me. Now, we were just talking about the Open then as well. Yeah. I did the Open on the weekend. I did the foundations one. So it's still the same movement pattern that everyone else is doing, but it's obviously not the high amount of reps, and it's different workout of what I can do where I'm at the moment. I felt a bit like a numpty doing it because I see all my mates out there, smashing themselves and RXing and doing scaled workout and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I've got to keep reminding myself the journey that I'm on is so different to everybody else's journey. Paul and I started at the same time. For those listeners that don't know, Paul's one of my best mates that we started at CrossFit at the exact same time. He's dropped 20 kilos, and mate, I couldn't be happier for him. He's just a dead set legend. He's done so well with it. He's so happy. I look at it and go, oh shit, Tony, you've only lost 4 kilos. Oh crap. But at the same time, as I just say, my journey of being able to move now, getting in and out of a car, sitting on a chair, being able to stand up, all of that kind of stuff. Mate, I wasn't, my first day in there when I remember Ash said to us, right, chuck the bar on your back, let's do a squat. I think my ass dropped from where it was maybe 4 inches, and I was like, yep, cool. And she's like, no, Tone, I said squat. I was like, no, right. But I wasn't able to do it. So now, the workout we did this morning, I'm actually getting down to sit on a bench and get back up properly. And has been huge for me to do. So I think what I'm trying to get across to people here is that it doesn't matter what your fitness level is. You can do it. CrossFit is something that is attainable for everybody, whether you're in your 20s and you're fit as a fiddle, or whether you're in your almost 50 and like me and you've had hip replacements galore go on, or whether you're in your 70s. It is adaptable. It is a constantly varied style of training that you can do. Anyone can do it, and you're going to get your results from it. This whole, what, guys, it's unsafe, stick away from it. I'm just going to say straight up bullshit. It's so not true.
The people that are saying that are people that have never worked with a good coach or never worked inside a good CrossFit gym. That's really the people. You never get I'm never going to say that people aren't going to get hurt doing it. That's inevitable, right? These things happen. Like what you said before, people can trip and hurt themselves going down the road. but it's heavily minimized. It's a heavily controlled space if you do it right. And yeah, man, I agree with what you're saying.
Coach is not going to let you lift if you don't have the movement pattern. You're not going to lift heavy if you don't have the movement pattern down right. Now, I'll be honest, when I first started, when we were doing squats off the rack, I loaded it up and I was like, oh, yeah, cool, Paul's doing that. So, yeah, that's what Tony needs to do as well, on my 4-inch squat. And that's when Ash come up and said, dude, piss it off, just use the bar, get something under your ass and sit down, then stand up again.
Yeah.
And that to me was so encouraging and so powerful in itself to go, okay, you know what? No, I don't need to do what everyone else is doing here, because if I did, I'm just going to end up hurting myself because I'm nowhere near that range of motion.
Yeah.
Focus on my range of motion. And now I've been able to start putting weights on. I'm stoked that has started to happen. I think that's what I'll say the key point of difference between just going to a big box gym and coming into a CrossFit box is you have someone there that it's almost like a PT one-on-one session.
Yep.
That coach is going to be with you to there go, dude, nah, piss the weight off, do something different. Or you can't do that, cool, here's another alternate exercise that you can do instead of doing that workout.
Yeah, I'll just add one more point there, and that is a lot of the trainers that we see are very specialized in the CrossFit space. Being a trainer, being a coach, coming onto the floor, you need to be very versed in all the aspects of all those domains. So just like body pump and Les Mills and different various group exercise, there needs to be a certain level of expertise taking people through that. And that's why we see in the CrossFit space varying levels of knowledge of trainers. You get, like what you said a minute ago, you get cowboys who are kind of maybe inexperienced but have a lot of experience themselves. And then you get people who have been in the industry a long time and done the correct educational pathways to be on the floor. That's a big thing. And I can't stress that enough, Tony. Like trying to hire someone for a CrossFit gym, we've had the gym for 7 years now, and we've had many coaches come through the gym, and seeing people, their ability levels, everyone's different, and everyone has to have that right recipe for the ingredients. Yep.
On that, what is the education you need to do to become a CrossFit coach?
Yeah. So there's 4 levels to being a CrossFit coach, and this is a good one to share with your listeners. So they start off, to be a CrossFit coach, you need a level 1 in CrossFit. It's a 2-day certification program. It's not easy, and it's not one of those courses where you do it and, if you don't pass the assessment on the second day, you just, the instructor comes over to you and says, oh, hey, you failed these questions, go back and do it again. No. What they do is they say, you'll find out next week. So if you don't pass, you have to go back and do it, right? So the level 1 it isn't easy, but it is this first entry to doing your level 1. Then they have the level 2. Level 2 is kind of advised for people that have been a CrossFit coach for, say, 2 years, and you've got about 500 hours of classes or coaching underneath your belt. And then, which is not that many, like 500, it might seem a lot, but over 2 years, if you're doing it regularly, you should be able to do 500 hours.
Yep.
And then after that, you've got level 3. So to put in perspective, out of Australia, there's probably, I don't know, I'm spitballing here, a large number, thousands of people have their L1. L2 goes down to a lot less. Probably if there's 10,000 people have their L1, there's probably about, in Australia, there's probably like 3,000 people that have their L2. Okay. So it gets considerably less. A lot of people who stay in the industry long enough do the L2. Quite hard, again, same deal, two-day course on the weekend, and you have an assessment at the end of that to let you know if you pass or not. Level 3 is the next level. That's considerably harder to achieve that level of qualification. That's a much harder, a more rigorous exam process, and you need to submit a lot of pre-qualified standards that you've met to do that. So you have to have, a lot more hours. You have to have a lot more experience. And then you have to sit the exam. I think the exam rate, when I did it, it was a long time ago. I think when I did it, there was in Australia, there was maybe, I'm going to say 12 people in Australia who had the qualification. Yeah. And now there's something like, I'm going to say 30 in Australia that have the L3. Yeah. And then the next step, and the other thing about the L3 is it has an 80% failure rate. So, that's so many people who sit the exam fail because it is really quite hard, and it's $1,000 every time you do the exam. So it's not cheap either, you know.
Yep.
And they don't go, oh yeah, you failed. Oh yeah, just do these quick. Like the efficacy on the exam process is really quite high, which is something I stand behind. I believe if you earned it, you earned it.
You're not going back to just fix the answers you got wrong. You've got to do the whole thing again.
You got to do the whole thing again, you know, and they don't tell you what you've done wrong either, you know. And the fourth one isn't in Australia. It's called the L4. And L4, I think worldwide, I think there's probably, I'm going to say 20 people, you know what I mean, across the world. So I could be wrong with those numbers, but yeah, that's kind of where it is.
Yeah. So on that, what level do you need to have in order to open a CrossFit box?
Yeah. So it used to be just the L1, and it used to be for a really, really long time, like pretty much up until about 6 months ago, you could have your L1 and open a CrossFit gym.
Yep.
These days you have to have an L2, a minimum L2, and they're making it now compulsory to have an L2 if you want to affiliate as a gym.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, which is great, right? It's raising the standard of coaching across the board. So yeah. I'm all about that.
Yeah. No, I love it, mate. There's no other questions that I've got here apart from just I want to personally say to you, thank you for
thanks, T.
For
yeah, thanks, man.
me into your box as well, and allowing me to train in there. But also thanks for coming on here and sharing what CrossFit is and sharing the new thing that I'm excited about at the moment, mate. So thank you.
You're very welcome, man. 100%. I'm glad to be on here and helping you guys. If you guys have any questions who have watched this or listened to this, please shoot them through to Tony and we'll get an answer back to them. But yeah, it's not just to summarize, man. CrossFit's not dangerous. Find a good gym. Try a couple of gyms if you're interested in doing it. Find a couple of gyms and just do a couple of trials. Go meet the coaches. Go and see the environment. You should feel really at home when you go into these gyms. It is confrontational. It's like confrontational. It's very intimidating. I kind of relate it to walking into, a dance school. If I was going into like my wife, when I was back in the day, she's like, all right, Sam, we're going to go learn how to do this salsa dancing for this thing. I walked in there and guys are wearing tights and wearing shoes and doing dance moves. And I'm like, what the hell? So it can be quite intimidating, but if you go into a place that's quite friendly, you should feel very welcome and, get a good vibe for them, for the people. Do a couple of trials, do a couple of PT sessions. That's where I would start if you're considering it.
Mate, thank you so much.
Very welcome, man. 100%. You.